Banks. They are the cornerstone of our financial lives, the institutions we rely on to safeguard our money and provide us with the means to achieve our dreams. We love to hate them, often seeing them as faceless entities that prioritize profits over people. But we also can't live without them. They are integral to our daily lives, from the moment we deposit our paychecks to the times we swipe our credit cards. They hold our money, give us loans, and generally grease the wheels of the economy. Without banks, the financial system as we know it would come to a grinding halt. But here's the thing, banks aren't exactly known for their transparency. They operate behind a veil of complex financial jargon and intricate systems. They operate in a complicated world of financial jargon and intricate systems that make most of us feel like we're deciphering hieroglyphics. This complexity often leaves us in the dark about what's really happening with our money. This lack of clarity benefits them while putting us, the average folks, at a disadvantage. We end up feeling overwhelmed and stressed, unsure of how to navigate the financial maze. It's time we pull back the curtain and shed light on some of the banking industry's less publicized practices that, if understood, could empower us to make better financial decisions. We're not talking about some conspiracy theory here, folks. This is about understanding the fundamental operations of banks. We're talking about the basics of how banks operate, things they don't necessarily advertise, but impact our financial lives every single day. From the fees they charge to the interest rates they offer, every detail matters. Before we dive into this video, let's take a quick moment to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a video. Your success starts now. Let's build greatness together. Things like how inflation slowly eats away at our savings while they make record profits. It's a silent thief that erodes our purchasing power over time, and how the system seems rigged to favor the wealthy with lower interest rates and fancy financial tools that are beyond the reach of the average Joe. The rich get richer while the rest of us struggle to keep up. This isn't about villainizing banks. It's about understanding the landscape so we can navigate it more effectively. It's about arming ourselves with knowledge that can help us ask the right questions and demand better services. Knowledge is power, especially when it comes to our own money. The more we know, the better equipped we are to make decisions that benefit us. By understanding the ins and outs of the banking system, we can make informed decisions, protect our financial well-being, and maybe, just maybe, even the playing field a little bit. We can take control of our financial future. So buckle up, because we're about to dive deep into the murky waters of the financial world and expose 5 hidden secrets banks don't want you to know. These insights could change the way you think about your money and your bank. Remember that time you could buy a decent burger for a few bucks? It feels like just yesterday, right? You walk into your favorite fast food joint, hand over a few dollars, and walk out with a satisfying meal. Yeah, those days are long gone, thanks to our old friend, inflation. Now, that same burger costs you almost double, and it's not just burgers. Everything from groceries to gas has seen a price hike. Inflation is the silent thief in the night, slowly chipping away at the value of our hard-earned money. You don't see it happening day by day, but over time, it's like someone's been sneaking into your wallet and taking a little bit each night. It's like a magic trick, but instead of making a rabbit disappear, it's your purchasing power vanishing into thin air. One moment you think you have enough, and the next, poof, it's gone. Here's the gist. Inflation means prices go up. That's a given. But what does that really mean for you and your savings? But here's what banks don't always tell you. The interest they give you on your savings often doesn't keep up with the rate of inflation. So While you think your money is growing, it's actually losing value. It's like trying to outrun a cheetah on a treadmill. You're moving, but you're not really going anywhere. Your savings account might show a higher number, but what you can actually buy with that money is shrinking. Let's say you have $1,000 in a savings account earning a generous 2% interest. Sounds great, right? You might feel like you're making progress. You're practically rolling in dough, or not. Because here's the catch. If inflation is at 3%, your $1,020 at the end of the year is actually worth less than your initial $1,000 in terms of purchasing power. That's right. Even though the number in your account has gone up, what you can buy with it has gone down. That's because you can buy less with that money now than you could a year ago. It's a harsh reality, but it's one we all have to face. Banks benefit from this because they lend out your money at higher interest rates than they pay you. They're making a profit while your savings are losing value. It's a simple equation. They make money while inflation erodes the value of your savings. So, what can you do about it? Stay informed, invest wisely, and always keep an eye on inflation rates. Ever wonder how banks seem to have an endless supply of money to lend out to people? Well, here's the catch. They don't. Not really. They operate on a system called fractional reserve lending, which sounds way more complicated than it actually is. In simple terms, it means banks are only required to keep a small fraction of the money you deposit in reserve. The rest, they lend it out to other people who need loans. Think of it like this. You deposit $100 in the bank. They might keep $10 in reserve and lend out the other $90. The person who borrowed that $90 might deposit it into another bank, which then keeps $9 in reserve and lends out $81, and so on. This cycle of lending and depositing creates what's called new money in the economy. Sounds like a magic money tree, right? Well, not exactly. This system is built on the assumption that not everyone will want to withdraw all their money at the same time. But what happens when that assumption fails? You get a bank run, and that's when things get really ugly. Remember the 2008 financial crisis? That was essentially a massive bank run fueled by risky lending practices and a lack of regulatory oversight. People panicked, rushed to withdraw their money, and the whole system nearly collapsed under the pressure. Ever notice how the rich seem to get richer? It's a phenomenon that's puzzled many for generations. While some attribute it to sheer luck or inheritance, the reality is far more complex. Well, it's not all inheritance and lucky stock picks. Sure, those play a part, but there's a whole other game at play here. One of the ways the wealthy stay wealthy is by playing the borrowing game on a whole different level. They have access to financial tools and opportunities that most people can only dream of. They get access to the best loan rates, even if they don't really need them. Imagine being able to borrow money at a fraction of the cost that the average person pays. It's like getting VIP treatment at a club you already own. The doors are always open and the red carpet is always rolled out. Here's the deal. Banks love lending money to rich people. It's a win-win situation for them. Why? Because they see them as less risky borrowers. The logic is simple. The more money you have, the less likely you are to default on a loan. They assume wealthy individuals are more likely to repay their loans because, well, they have more money to begin with. Makes sense, right? But this creates a cycle that's hard to break. But here's where it gets a little unfair. This means that even if you have a perfect credit score and a steady income, you're likely to get stuck with a higher interest rate than someone who's already swimming in cash. It's a system that favors the already favored. Take Mark Zuckerberg, for example. He's a prime illustration of how the system works. Back in 2012, he snagged a mortgage for his Palo Alto home at a ridiculously low 1.05% interest rate. That's almost free money. Meanwhile, the average Joe was stuck paying around 2.69%. It might not sound like a huge difference, but it's significant. That difference might not seem like much, but over the life of a mortgage, it adds up to a hefty sum. We're talking thousands, if not tens of thousands of dollars. It's like a financial fast track reserved exclusively for the wealthy, giving them an even greater advantage, leaving the rest of us stuck in the slow lane. It's a stark reminder of how the financial system is skewed in favor of those who already have plenty.